Hello, hello. Hi, Jamie. Excuse me, I was tagging a few people. Just giving it a couple minutes for a few people to join us. We're a minute or two late, I think. Hi, Deanna. Oops, earthquake. I bumped the table. Okay, so here's what we're going to talk about first tonight. And that is, I posted that the Copic blend holder and the refill station, which looks like this, is in the shop. And hello Kathy, and I had hello to Cheryl, and I had a few people ask me about what it was and how to use it. So I found my missing runaway W0 that's been missing for several days now that I had pulled out to refill. Now my refill is not the new one, so it doesn't fit in here, but it stands up really well. The other ones, they see, I can't even stand it up. They don't stand up very well. They tend to fall over if you shake the table. So they fit in the holder like that. So you can have 4 prepared to work at when you start. And then I like to have this little area right here to put my Q-tips in and my nib if I have to remove it. I'm not going to leave this picture here while I'm doing this because, you know, we don't want to spill any ink anywhere. So I'm only going to fill one, this W0. I generally put a napkin down first, and then I put my refill station here. And this is what I call my little handy dandy, always on my desk, ready to go. It has 91% alcohol and some baby wipes in it. And you can use that to clean the caps, although these don't look so bad, and here, but you can't touch the nib with it. So you want to be very careful about that. So I just take my little Q-tip and I stick it in this 91% alcohol, and then I clean out my lids. Just kind of get them all cleaned out in there. I dry it out with the other end. Undo the other cap if necessary. Why is what? Why is that? Why do I clean them? Oh, why can't you touch the nib with the alcohol? Because it will damage the nib. It can't be that 91% alcohol that you buy at the grocery store. You can't use that. You have to use this, because this is the blending liquid that's inside these markers. It's not technically alcohol. It's really this colorless blender various ink refill. And this one's getting low, but I have a second one on hand because I don't like to be without this. But when cleaning other things like nibs or things like that, I use this, and refilling my colorless blender, which I need to do all the time, I use that. But when you're cleaning this, because you're not touching any part of the marker, as long as you let it dry and you clean it, you can clean it with the cheaper stuff. So the colorless blender is very expensive, so to do the little things like the caps and the top of the marker or the body of the marker, I use the alcohol. But then if I'm doing anything closer to the nib or refilling or anything like that, I'll use the colorless blender. But to save money, I use this. Okay, so this little handy thing right here is the holder for the marker. So it fits in there just like this. So when you see it on the side, it doesn't touch, but it allows me to see if the, so if it helps you to be able to see this, the other nib, because if it starts getting juicy, you know you're overfilling it. So I don't always weigh my markers just because I have this little knack of being able to tell how much ink's in the marker by shaking it around a little bit. So I don't have that problem, but when I'm doing a mass refill or a mass check, I will use this. And I got this on Amazon. It's just a cheapo little digital pocket scale. When you turn it on, it does it by grams. So I just take my marker and lay it on there. And it says 8.4. I don't think you guys can see that, but, well, now it says more. But when you hold it like that, it's about 8.1, 8.4, somewhere around there. So you need it to be on a flat surface. When it's on the flat surface, it's 8.4, but when I hold it up, it's 8.1. So I'm using this just so you guys can see, because some people need to know. But 8.4 is very low. It needs to be at least 9.4 without the caps on either end. So it's down a little bit. And then I'm going to refill this marker because we're probably going to use this marker tonight, and I really need it. I really need it filled. So I shake it up. So these refill bottles are really easy to squeeze the juice out of. But these are not. They are not user friendly at all, and I am squeezing hard. So we designed this so when you refill with these, you can use both your hands to squeeze the bottle. So it helps with people who have, you know, sensitive hands or arthritis, or like me, I pulled the tendon in my hand, so it's weaker than normal. And I just drop the ink on top of the brush nib, and I just do it, you know, kind of slow. You'll see, I don't know, let me see if I can zoom in just a little bit so you can watch the nib. If you just do drops, it'll go slow, but you can see, can you see the juice filling up? Let me see if I can tip it a little bit. When I'm loading it, you can see the juice accumulate at the bottom, and that's when I stop to allow it to soak into the core. And then I just keep filling it until I feel like I've done enough. There are marks on the bottle right here that tells you how much you're filling it. So if you know how much you're down, you could know how much to put in, but I'm just a wing it kind of gal. So I'm just going to fill this for a bit. When I think I have, you know, pretty close to enough, which I do not think I'm at yet. So it takes a second. It takes more ink than you think. I will also turn it over, and if the nib looks really dry, which this one looks pretty dry, I'll also put a tab or two on here. If I feel like I need more on that end, then I'll flip over the marker. It also fits, now it's 9.7, so now it's right where it needs to be. But you can flip it around this way and fill it this way as well. Either way, whichever way works best for you, it's up to you. I like to fill it in this end. If you try to fill it and the ink just goes right over it and down that, it means that the nib is clogged. There's some clogging going on in your nib. So that's when I'll clean the nib. So that's why I like to put it over the brush nib when I do it. So once I have it done, the caps have sat out long enough that they're all dried off from the alcohol. I'll put the caps back on, and then I let it sit for just a little bit so it can equalize before I use it again. But that is what we use, or trash the nib, that too. I usually have about 20 or so extra nibs on hand, so I never run out, and so when Jamie comes, I can replace nibs for her. Just kidding, throwing you under the bus, Jamie. So anyway, we have them in pink, black, purple, and white. Those are the 4 colors right now. Teal is not a friendly color in PLA, so we don't have any in teal right now. But I wanted to show how you fill it because someone asked today when I posted that they were available that they didn't know how to use it. So I thought, hey, I have one to use, one that needs filled, so I'll just do it at the beginning of the live so I can use it while we're coloring. So I didn't get anything on my napkin, yay, so I can use that again. Sometimes my markers are a little bit old. Hi, Annabella. The other night we did a live and we colored this. We colored each one of these. Hi, Angela. Yeah, we can in a minute. So I colored from the Elephants and Unicorns set and from this cute little meerkat set that everyone seems to be loving the guts out of. And I did that coloring and I posted it on YouTube and I marked it video 1, part 1. So when I load this one, it will be part 2. So you can watch them both because we're going to do the background now because I've had a request to show how I did the cobblestone on the card that I made with the Beep Beep Jeep. So I'll show you what that looks like and then I'm going to teach everyone how to make it. So, dun 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 dun. This is my Beep Beep Jeep. I love this Beep Beep Jeep. And I wanted like an off-road. I didn't want to do a regular road, so I did like a cobblestone road for the Jeep to drive on. And I thought, what better way to make a little cobblestone path here through the zoo? So we're going to do that. We're also going to do, you know, some bushes in the background and some grass and maybe a little bit of sky up at the top. So this is part 2. So if you missed part 1, you can always go back and watch it on YouTube. And then tonight we're going to talk about backgrounds. So those of you who don't have these stamps yet, ordered them and don't have them, or haven't ordered them yet, but now you're in love with them because they're so stinking cute. Ha ha ha. You can play along with me on some sweet sentiment paper with a few markers. Doesn't matter what color they are, but you can play with making the cobblestone with me. So it doesn't have to necessarily be on this. It can be on anything, but yes. Oh yeah, Jamie can do that or I can do that, either way. But yes, you'll love how you light up the headlights for the Beep Beep Jeep. It's perfect. Yes, we do have special lights for them. So one more quick thing before I start coloring, and that is, look what we're making. Ha ha ha. Replacements for the honey bowls. They're in process, so you guys might hear the 3D printers going in the background because my husband's got 2 of them running tonight with trying to get some more of these in the shop. So super cool. So anyway, I use mine like this. So this is where I keep them on my desk with my little embellies in there. And I have 2, so I have different kinds of embellies in there. And I keep these on my desk so I don't always have to go and pull out my embellishment bucket when I'm looking for something. I just keep the most used ones on my desk in those little things. No, it's not storming now, but it was storming so bad earlier that they almost had like a ½ inch of hail on the neighbor's roof. So it's a little scary, but yeah. And purple. Sweet Pops and Sweet Springs, those are good to put in it as well. I have the, I actually have the prototype, which was the first one my husband ever made for me, and it has my springs in it. And look at that, Jamie colored that for me. Oh my gosh, doesn't that look like me? And this looks like my husband. So if you guys don't know what my husband looks like, that's me and my husband. I'm coloring and he's vacuuming. And that is the truth. That is the way it runs in this household. So anyway, oh, you got to conceal your goodies. Yes. Okay, so I pulled out some greens for the tree, for the bushes and stuff, but I did not pull out the cobblestones, but we're going to do that right now. So I'm going to use the W's. All the more reason why I needed to refill that 0, 0, that 0, because I was forced to use 0, 0 when I was playing with it before. You have candy in one? I sometimes do that too. Right now, my candy's just sitting on my desk. Don't you just love Jordan almonds? Okay, so we're going to start with W5, W4, W3, W2, W1, and we're going to throw in that W0. So good thing I have 2 of these. So I can put my W0 in that one. Now, I'm also going to start with W0 so that I can sketch out where I want that cobblestone path to be. Yeah. So you guys let me know once I get started if I'm zoomed in far enough or if you want me to try to zoom in further. I feel like I'm in pretty far now, but sometimes it helps to be zoomed in a little more. So I'm just going to draw where I want that path to be. And since the signs usually aren't right in the middle of the path, I'm going to go from the sign. I'm going to put it over here like you're going to walk past and see the elephant, and then you're going to see the rhino, and then the path is going to go off the page. So this way, we're going to go behind the little meerkats. Normally they're in the grass, but we're going to put them on the cobblestone since they're hugging and looking at everybody. And we're going to make this whole path right here cobblestone. I know, they're supposed to be. They're closer to you. It's like you're standing here and the other ones are going to be further away.
Perspective.
It's your perspective. It's supposed to look like that. Hee hee hee. I have a story for everything. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to draw in some of the little stones. Because we want to draw in the stones first. And these might not be exactly where I'm going to put the stones, but I want an idea so I don't get off too bad on what I'm doing. So I'm just going to kind of draw in some stones here. And they don't have to be, you know, complete circles. And I kind of want them to be a little bit scattered off of each other. And I might even make a few little ones, like just the edges coming in. So this one I'm just going to do from there out so you can't really see. And I'm just doing wiggly lines, not that they really make any kind of, you know, sense or anything. Just some wiggly lines just to kind of give me an idea of where I want this path to go. We'll get to shaping them a little bit more when we get into it. But for now, we're just going to draw in some little stones. Honey, I shrunk the zoo. We could do that for sure. I shrunk the zoo. I put it in this little piece of paper. I love zoos. So I'm going to start curving my little stones to kind of match my path. So before I was doing them straight, and now I'm going to do them just kind of off the path. Off the beaten path. Okay, so it almost looks like a giraffe. We could do giraffe like that. Godzilla versus meerkats. Yep. Yep, yep, yep. So I'm going to start with E05. It's going to be very dark. So if you're a little nervous, you could start with with W4. I'm stuck on the E's tonight. You could start with W4, but I'm going to go ahead and just jump right in with W5. So what I'm going to do is put some of just the back side of the stones with this darkest color. Now I'm not going to do the whole path. I'm only going to do a little bit of the path at a time. Just a little bit at a time. Okay, so we're going to start with that little bit. I may be on to a great poster. Wow, wouldn't that be cool? I might be on to the next image that's going to sit on my desk for a while. Now we're going to go with W4. And we are going to use all these W's because we need them. And now we're going to just start going in and kind of expanding out on this darkest color. So just kind of making horseshoes almost. Extend out. Bring this out a little bit. It's going to look really silly when we first get started, but once we start getting around, you'll start seeing it come to life. It's pretty exciting to watch. So there's no real rhyme or reason to how much I'm putting in there. I'm just putting a little bit here and there. I'll keep filling it in and we can go back if we need to. Since this is behind the meerkat, I want that whole horseshoe showing up there. Okay, so that's just one little piece of the path. And we can do more of the path later, but I want you to see all the steps before I continue. Eeh. Tummy aches. I hate tummy aches. I'm just glad it's not storming. I was a little worried it was going to keep storming and that was going to cause a problem with my video tonight, but we're good. Okay, so this one's W3. Again, same thing. Smoothing out where we ended with the W4. Just kind of extending it out a little bit further. Notice I'm not going all the way. I am going to zoom in a little bit. Notice I'm not going all the way back to the darkest color, and it's leaving a bit of a ridge there. I want that. I'm going to like that texture look when I get done. So I'm really just putting it where the edge, slightly over the edge of where the last color was, and then bringing it forward. Just a little bit. Because we kind of want that texture. We want it to look like stone. So we're just going to follow this along. And you can already see it looks pretty cool. It's just going to keep getting better and better. You can reshape these as you're going along if you want. Totally up to you how you want to do that. I'm going to go ahead and put just a little bit here because these little guys are standing here. So they might be a little shadowed. Okay, W2 will be next. We're going to use this down to W1 and then we're going to stop. We're not going to use it for W0. It does come together fast. Okay, so this one, again, just filling in some of that area right there. On the big ones, I won't fill the whole thing in, but on the little ones, I will. Kind of extending that out. I want this whole area to come around on my stone. Okay. I want this one to get a little rounded here. these are more like side brush strokes rather than the tiny brush strokes we are usually doing. Jamie, are you granting wishes or not tonight? Okay. So with W1, this is when it this is when it changes just a little bit. Okay, the process has been the same with each one, but now we're going to do it a little bit different. When I get to this W1, I'm going to do around the outside of each stone. So round the outside. And then I'm going to do into the middle just to smooth that out a bit. So I'm going to go around each stone. It's going to kind of soften that harsh W5 that I put in there earlier. And then the back and forth on the stone a little bit. You won't want to do it too much, because if you do it too much, then you'll wash out that dark color, and we don't want to do that. So you start seeing how this is coming together. It's softening up the stones. They're starting to look a little more like stones and a little less like a blob I put on my paper. Around the outside. And then across the middle. Jamie, have you ever done cobblestone before? Or is this new to you as well? I wasn't sure if you had or not. I'm going to soften this one just a little bit more. Okay. Now, awesome. So now I'd said we were going to use W0. So we are going to use it now, which generally I use at the end, but I want you to see the whole process before we move on and repeat. Okay? So I'm going to take this W0 and straighten out my path, and then I'm going to color in all of the area in between all of the stones. Just smoothing out that stone path. And this is my marker on the paper for quite a while. A full-size $100 bill? No, I have not. I have not tried to do that. So we keep our W0. That was just to fill in. And then I go back with my W4. And I'm just going to do the edges of these just to make those stand out a little bit. Because we washed out a lot of that color already. So we're kind of just putting that color back in, but not much of it. Seems kind of crazy that we take it out and then put it in, and take it out and put it in. But it's what gives that very soft, smooth look to it. And then I'm going to jump down to my W1. Just going to skip all the others, go to my W1, and I'm just going to go over this area where I put the W0 already once. And I'm going to darken it all up a bit. And that's why I went in and put the W4 in there again. Now I'm keeping my marker on the paper, but I'm keeping it there for less time, and the pressure I'm using is much lighter than the pressure I was using with the W0. I'm going to smooth out that path just a little bit for our next steps. So right now, this is what we have. We have some cobblestone under our little meerkats. And now what we're going to do is we're going to keep on moving so we can get that full cobblestone path done. So back to our W5. Yeah, cobblestone. So it doesn't take that long to do the cobblestone, and it's kind of fun, actually. I like it. I thought it was pretty fun when I did it. Okay, so back to doing some little crazy shapes here for our little cobblestone, making horseshoes with our path. Some big stones, some small stones, but that's the way it is. Kind of keeping them round, some flat, some really round. They can be different. They don't have to be the same. So I'm just going to keep going because we're going to do the rest of this path all at the same time. And I may add little bitty stones in there if I need them. But that we can do those details as we're going along later. Oops! Off the paper. That's what happens when I zoom in so far. But I think it's easier for you guys to see if I zoom in really close. So as you noticed, my horseshoes were going in this direction, and now they've turned to this direction. Yeah, I fixed it. I was off screen for a brief moment, because this path is going to go this way and then off the paper. So I've kind of turned it. I'll try to do the rest of it while the paper is in this direction so you guys can see it. I'll try not to move it around too much so I can keep it in close for you guys. Okay, so W4 is next. That's the one where I extend a little and then extend this way. And I'm going right over that W5. And this is where I build just a little more shape to these stones while I'm working on them. Still leaving part of it looking like there's no other side to the stone. And no stones are built. Yeah, it is a big difference between 4 and 5. It is. I noticed that too when I was doing it, but I kind of think it needs it because when I did just W4, it wasn't as prominent as it is with this one. I liked the harsh contrast. I really did. So this one's going to go more around like that. You hear hubby's working hard in the background. So same process, we're going over the W5. We're extending out a little bit. I'm going to turn my body. Yes, it does give it a better define. Yep, I agree. That's why I did all the way up to W5 instead of only doing W4. But the reason I told everyone who wanted to practice along to start with W4 is because they can add the W5 in later and that it won't scare them as much, you know, because some people are a little nervous about that really dark color. Okay, Jamie. We'll know if you stop talking that you fell asleep. I want to extend this one back just a little bit. So I may have to hit that one again with the W5 later. Okay, so this isn't so bad. We can do this. There we go. So now we have our path going along. You love the brown elephant? I know. I love coloring in brown. He came out really good. I was super happy. I like the rhino, but I didn't want the rhino and the elephant to be the same color. W3. Did you eat nuts, Jamie? Something with nuts in it? W3. If you ate those, whatever nuts you're allergic to, maybe that's the problem. So this is W3. Again, I'm just going to explain again that I'm going back into the W4, but not all the way to the W5. Just go through it just a little bit. I'm going to start coming around. Yep, peanuts in it. That's what I was thinking. That's what I was worried about. Something with peanuts in it. This is going to be so cute. I've only done the cobblestone one time. The Beep Beep Jeep was the first time I'd ever tried it. And I liked it so much. I was like, oh yeah, I can do this again. And a few people had asked, so I thought, well, you know, I'm all about winging it for you guys. I mean, I'm going to be trying it at home by myself. I might as well do it with my friends, so I don't have to do it by myself. Just extending it out a little bit, following it through. Each color is going to start lightening it up a bit, which we're going to like. So looking good so far. Yep, peanuts or almonds. You got food out somewhere, that might be part of the problem. It was pie day. Did you have pecan pie? Big National Pie Day or something. Just kidding. I know it's really the mathematical symbol of pi. But I prefer to see it on Let's Eat Pie. Maybe gummy bears could help. You wish you had pie today. I'm going to have a cupcake when I get off live because I have a cupcake waiting for me. Strawberry cream cupcake. My hubby got it for me. So there we go. Starting to come together. Looking a whole lot like this one. You could almost use this same type of theory when you do giraffes, which would be awesome. Gummy bears solve all problems. That is true. We never have gummy bears in our house because I eat them too fast. W2. W2, we're going to kind of close up our stones with W2. And extend out from where we were. Kind of just smoothing that out a little bit. I want to round up those stones. The meerkats. It would work for giraffes, I bet, or cheetahs. Yeah, same kind of theory. You put it on something else and it looks amazing. So, yeah, it's a good technique because you can use it for so many things. And who'd have thought a couple of half circles could turn out to be something so awesome? Maybe one day we'll do bricks too, and then you guys can see how you make bricks. We'll start doing some different textures. I don't mind learning. We did tile once before. That turned out really good, and that was my first attempt, so it was very successful. Yes, I love how quickly it comes together too. You can already start seeing it. And so it gives you that confidence as you keep going that, like, wow, look, I can tell I'm on the right path. No pun intended. The cobblestone path. Yeah, I am really stepping out of my comfort zone doing all of this stuff live rather than practicing at home first, you know. I mean, sometimes, I won't lie, sometimes I do practice it if I have time, but lately I haven't had any time to practice stuff before I go live. And I just listen to what you guys want, and then I come live and I try it. I mean, I'm sure so far we've been pretty successful, but I'm sure at some point we're going to have an epic fail, and that'll be okay, because then you'll know what not to do, just like you know what to do. I mean, we all got to keep it real, right? Yeah, you had to get me doing backgrounds. I love them. I like all my paper too, and I have to get rid of it. And every time I always think, oh, that paper I have will be so perfect for this project, that I don't do the background. But I am now. I am definitely doing it now. Right? Learning and room for embellishment. That is right. Because we're going to try bushes. We're going to make some bushes in the background tonight. And I won't lie, I did practice that briefly, really, really fast. I'll even share. Before we started, to see if what I had in mind was going to work. And I think it does. So we're going to do it. Here's W1. This is the one that we go around the outside to kind of smoothen that darkest color. And then fill in our stones. That W1. So we're going to start really seeing our stones come to life now. Hi, Christy. Hi, Jamie's big sister. I love these images, and I love going to the zoo, so this is so perfect for me. If I'd had a much bigger piece of paper, there'd have been a beep beep Jeep on this too. I love coloring that beep beep Jeep. It's way less complicated than it looks. You done working on your cosplay for now? Yes, Dale's in your chair.
Well, I have to.
He just sat down. Do you hear the chair creak?
I have to pound hold, so I can't do that while you're doing your life.
Oh, he said it's time for him to pound holes in the leather, and he can't do that while I'm live, so he's taking a break. Make it a rainbow Jeep. Oh, man. That would be neat. I would like that. I've seen some people colored it green. I colored it red. I've seen it one other way. I can't remember off the top of my head what it was, but you can color that Jeep any color you want. And for those my grandson colored it his green and orange. I mean, you did do a rainbow hyena. I didn't even know how you were going to do that, but that's pretty amazing. I'm super glad it's not storming anymore. coming along. This is a meditative moment. A shaggy Jeep. That would be neat. It's a good idea. It is a lot like a safari Jeep. I would love to go on a safari. Filling in these little stones, coming to life. I know sometimes it's better to wing it, you know. I am a wing gal. I like to just wing it. Because even if you plan it out, it doesn't ever turn out to look exactly like if you color it once before the live and then you try to color it on the live, it never comes out the same. And I filled all these W's the other day, so they're nice and juicy. No, this is part 2. I did a part 1 where I did all of the animals and such. And then now we're doing the cobblestone, and then we're going to do the rest of the background. But no, I did not do all of that in 45 minutes. No, I'm not that fast. Okay, so now we're going to use the W0. We're going to start filling in that pathway. Oh yeah, like a Jurassic World theme. Ooh man, you just wait. I'm going to be doing that when later. In a couple months or so. I'm going to be I got to practice because my Jurassic World would have to be awesome. Because I love it so much. So I could do the beep beep Jeep in the Jurassic World. Like in the Jurassic. Ooh, I might have to do that. You were going to be floored? Yeah, I'd be floored at myself too if I had done all of that in 45 minutes. I believe coloring the rhino, the elephant, the sign, and the meerkat we did in an hour and a half. The other night, and I posted it on YouTube. It's also in our group, so you can watch it in either place. And I put part 1 on it. I'll put part 2 on this one, so people will know if they do the first part, they can do the second part, and so forth. So you yourself could make this scene just like me. Look at that. Alright, so let's go in and give it just a little bit more accent to smooth it out, because I don't know if you can tell, but if you look at these ones that we smoothed out already with the second coat of 2 of the markers, look better than these. So we're going to go in there now, back with the W4. And we're going to go over these areas just a little bit around where I had the darkest color. Filling that dark color in again to give it a little bit more shadow and texture. I followed the guidelines I put on this one quite a bit. The first time I did it, I did not. So I guess it just depends on how it goes. I am using a 7 marker blend. Go me, right? That's not a typical thing for me, for sure. Okay, I think I got them all. think we went back in with W1 to finish it up. So we're just going to finish making sure that path is built. I'm going to smooth this out around where I just put all that dark color, kind of going over that W0 I put in there earlier, making it just a little bit darker. But touching the paper a lot lighter than I did with the W0. And notice how far back I'm holding my marker. So I don't need a lot of control when I'm doing that. Yes, I have. You have inspired me, Jamie, to do more. And I get excited. I get off the live and I go over to my husband. I'm like, look what I did tonight. It came out okay. I'm pretty happy. But the key to it is, are you guys happy? Because that's what really matters. Alrighty. So we have a nice little path going on here. What I'm going to do now is I want to give it, like, I feel like my stones are too far apart. No 9 color blend. No 9 marker blends. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is my green is 7 as well. So I'm going to go in with my W2 and I'm going to build just a few more smaller stones in between the bigger stones. That last step does make all the difference, doesn't it? And I'm just going to put like some very small, like little stone paths, little stones in between that kind of bring them together. And this is sort of random. I don't want them to be like really big and I don't want them to be really small. I'm just going to put a few of them in there. We're going to smooth them out so they look a little funny right now. But they're not going to look like the other stones. They're just going to be small parts of stones in there. And I'm going to go in with my W1 and smooth those out a little bit. Because I just want this to look a little bit more busy. Giving a little bit darker tone in some of these spots than the rest of the path. So it doesn't look so really stark light and then dark. I need some shadowing of stone there. So I'm just adding a little bit of an accent in there. Just kind of scribbling almost on the paper. Just to make it look like it's a little bit, that really adds to it. Yeah, it does. I like it. I think it needed it.
Breaking up the uniformity of the color.
Yeah. It's breaking up the uniformity, like my hubby said. And also it makes the stones not stand out so individually as well. So I kind of like it. I think that helps a lot. We might need a few of them over here. So I'm going to go back to my W2. This is what you call double-fisted coloring. You'll see me do this sometimes when I'm doing projects like this. I have 2 markers in my hand at the same time so I can flip back and forth. I don't do it a lot, but I do it sometimes. So that was my W2. And then back to my W1. Fill these in as well. So we can make all of it look like that. We didn't do that step earlier because I didn't have enough on there to know if I really wanted to do that step or not. But now I do. So love it. It does add shadow. It makes it look better. I probably wouldn't do that if I was doing a giraffe, but for a cobblestone, I think you need it. So I feel pretty good about that. So I'm going to stop. Sometimes you just got to know when to stop. So I'm going to stop with the cobblestone and we're going to start doing the next step. So I want to put each one of these animals on some dirt. So I'm going to need to go with a dirt-ish color. I'm going to choose. It looks so good. You guys like it, huh? It wasn't that hard either, was it? I bet you could do it. E35, E34, and E31. Now, we might throw in some other colors as we're going along, but we'll see. So, I'm going to take 35 first, and I'm just going to put a little bit of this dirt underneath this little guy right here. Huh? No, I'm not doing a turd pile for the elephant. That's just disturbing, honey. Even though it is like...
That's realism.
Realism. At its worst. Maybe. Realism at its worst. I want this to kind of look like his little face is doing some shadow there in the dirt. And then, of course, our girl is standing there in the dirt as well. So we're just going to give her a little bit. That's funny. You suggest brown for dirt? Well, this is not really brown. This is toast. Does that count? I choose to do more of that. Like whenever you're at the zoo, it doesn't really appear to necessarily be like brown, like dirt. It always seems like it's some kind of weird, I don't know, weird sandish dirt stuff. And when I do sands, I use more of these colors. And when I do dirt, I use more brown. So I kind of chose to go with a mixture. Now, when I do this one, you're going to see that my colors aren't gonna. It's like sandy dirt. Well, I don't want to give, I don't want to blend those too well together just yet. So, this is what we got so far. And I wanted to give a few different techniques at the same time. Nice pun. Sandy dirt. No pun intended. But that's right. That's what we're doing. Sandy dirt. Which can be taken two ways. So now we're going to smooth out a little bit out these. And this one is not quite as orangey, and it's a little bit more softer. It kind of makes that textured look. You could actually use your... I may actually use my chisel end for some of this. Now I want this dirt to come out to the pathway. So I'm going to build a little wall here. And then I'm going to go from the wall into the dirt I've already put on there. Okay, and then I'm going to use this end to blend them all together. So I can do it faster. See? So cute. So now he looks like he's in a little area with some dirt. I think he does. I think I'm going to go back a little bit further on this. I think I'm too close up. I want it to look like it's behind them a bit. And maybe let's curve it a little bit. Maybe we need to put a little bit of curve in there. There we go. Gotta go over this one more time just to make sure it blends well. Okay, so there we go. That's the next step. Now I don't want to use these same colors when I do my elephant. I'm going to give him a little bit more brown dirt because I don't want to use the exact same colors that I used on the elephant underneath them. That's just the way I roll. So I'm going to give him more of a brown color. So this one, I'm only going to use 3 again, and I'm going to use E25, 23, and 21. So we're going to kind of do a little bit of the same stuff underneath the elephant and me. If I was really, really good, I'd be building a big old fence right here too, but I'm not really sure how I would even do that. So I'm not going to lie. I don't know how, so I'm not going to do it. Can't even imagine it at this point. And the in between the animals, I'm going to put some grass and stuff so that it looks like they're separate in separate places. If I had my beep beep Jeep going on there, it'd be like one of those drive-throughs, and then they could all be in the same place at the same time. Are there real brown elephants? Yes, there are. The African elephants are brown. Google African elephant. That's how I got my colors for this one. I looked at the African elephants and I tried to replicate that type of brown that was on the African elephant. I don't want to touch my leg because I'm already tan enough in that picture. You never knew that? See, learn something new every day. Yep, I went Googling types of elephants because I wanted to color mine different than the gray that most people do or rainbow that Jamie does. And so I found this one and I said, yep, that's what it's going to be. This one is E23. I do that often when I'm coloring a project. I will very often Google it and look for different ones, especially flowers. When Jamie has us color those new flowers that she has out, I always want to do them in a different color. Or I go out there and say, hey, do they have a purple flower like this? Do they have a purple version of this? So I can do purple on mine. And most of the time, I can find a purple version of it, which makes me super happy. Okay, so E21 is next. We use this one in our skin blend a lot. I'm going to go over all of it because I want to kind of lighten it up a little bit. I want to smooth out my little ends because I want it to look like that's ending the little area where the elephant is. I'm going to bring it along the pathway, so I'm going to be really careful with that. And now I want to make that blend just a little bit more, so I'm going to keep going over it with this color, kind of lightening it up. I'm going to leave some of that dark underneath their feet and around them because their bodies are shadowing the ground. Plus it's always dirty in that pen, so we're just going to let it look dirty. I think that works. Jack. heck is snoring like crazy over there? I guess he just likes to sleep this late at night. Every time I'm doing a live, he's snoring. Like, that's crazy. Okay, so now we have some ground for our elephant and some sandy ground. Great children's book setting going on here. It could definitely be some stories with that for sure. Okay, our meerkats already have some ground to stand on, so we don't have to worry about that. Clearly, I visit the zoo. I love the zoo. The zoo is so much fun. Okay, so I got a whole lot of colors I pulled out here just for fun. We got YG67, YG17. I got YG61. I have 03 and YG11. And then I have these two really bright greens, YG23 and 21, that I'm going to use as accents. Yes, there is a zoo near me. The Fort Worth Zoo, amazing. The Dallas Zoo, not so much. But the Fort Worth Zoo is, yeah, super awesome. I love going to the Fort Worth Zoo. It's one of my favorites. Okay, so I want to put some bushes back here, and then we'll do some grass in between these ones, I think, is what we're going to do. And then we're going to follow our grass around here, and we'll probably put a little bit of sky along the top. So let's just see. You want to go? Okay, here we go. With our darkest color. This is our YG67. We're going to start building a few little bushes back here. So let me start with my W0 and just draw in where I want them to be. So I kind of want a bush right here. I'm gonna kind of do that square-ish, sort of look so it looks like, you know, shrubs, kind of like a shrub fence. So I kind of put a few of them right there. I might even do one right here, so this just looks like there's a whole fence, a shrub of trees going on there. Oh, you want to go? We could go. Okay, so the other night I did some leaves for a tree, and so tonight we're going to use that same, oh, look, my marker's getting kind of touchy. So for the leaves, we're going to do it kind of like this. So I'm going to be laying down on that marker. And I'm going to do a whole bunch of that. It's almost like that dot, that like, I forget what they call that. I'm going to do some little, some big, some small, different ones. And I move my marker around so they look all different. I'm going to do them a little darker at the bottom, a little lighter at the top. So we can always go back in and add more, but for now, I want to just get my base going on here. So no rhyme or reason again, just dotting these on here. Giving us some, we got some pretty good taking care of bushes back here. Yes, you did. You did teach me that. That is true. That is a true statement. I might need to change this nib soon. You can see when I lay this nib down how much it bends. Do you see how much the nib bends? It's not supposed to do that. That means that the fibers are breaking up in this nib. so I'll probably have to replace it soon, but it's great right now for this process. So we're just going to kind of give it that, like a little shrubbery along the back. I think I want this to come down a little bit more so I can kind of keep a straight line, or close to a straight line. I think we need a few up here. And we'll just keep filling that in with the different colors as we get lighter. So, yes, you are. YG17 is the next one. This one is actually called grass green. This one, I'm going to build my little wall over here so I don't do it into my elephant. I'm going to do some at the top, but more at the bottom. I want the bottom to stay darker than the top so I can put the lighter colors that might be hit more by the sun. Now when I do grass, I'm going to do a little bit different. Grass is going to be a little bit different than this shrubbery we got going on here. More down here in the bottom. And we'll smooth out this very bottom down here as we go. Okay, well, we got to get enough of the dark in there for it to really show. I am being very light. I am not mushing it on the paper. If I was, you would really see that nib bending even worse than it already is. So this one is YG61. So this one is very, very light. So I'm filling in some of those empty spaces with this really, really light color to fill that in. Okay. These are like those bushes I have in front of my house that I hate. Please don't break your nibs doing this. True that. I wonder what it would look like if you did it from the chisel end. You could try it and see. Nope. Doesn't give you the same shape. Okay, so this one is YG03 and it's a little bit of a brighter. Yeah, so I'm just placing my nib down and putting some ink on the paper. I'm not pressing it because if I was, you would really see that nib bend. I saw it bend a little bit on the other ones, but that was because my nib is beat down already. Probably hasn't been replaced in a really long time. So getting some of those lighter colors up at the top is important to me. I'm trying to make sure I do that. Keeping it thick at the bottom. It's closest to the ground there. And this one is the one where I'm going to start lining off the bottom of these bushes. Now it's significantly lighter, so I'll go in with the darker one to really flatten out these paths, but I wanted to make sure with the lighter color that I had a fairly straight line. Okay, so I'm going to jump backwards two markers to the YG17. And I'm going to fill in that bottom part down there. And I'm going to lean this way so you guys can still see. I want this to be pretty thick. I want it to blend with the other one. But I want to keep that shape down there as flat as possible. And I may have to go back in with my darkest color. I thought this would be back far enough. YG17, but it's not. I want to get some solid color in here. Okay, starting to get some. One more with the YG17. I think I'm going to do this. I am going to do this with my chisel end, because I just want to put in some of that dark shade in there. I'm going to kind of do it like this, if I can get it to do it. So I don't want it to be straight when I do it. Now we got to go back with our YG17 and walk it forward. Hi, Phyllis. Okay, YG17 again. I'm going to smooth out that color that we put in there. There we go. Now I'm starting to see it smooth out there. And it won't be really that specific, because when we come in with grass, it'll keep it different. Gonna do a little more of these little leafy looking. This one has a lot of ink right there. So I'm just gonna touch it with my finger, lighten it up a little bit. Okay, back down to my, all the way down to my YG11, which was the last color in the sequence. And that's where I'm just going to do some tips up here, just to kind of bring out that other color and smooth out those tops. So notice I have the point of the nib sticking out, so that I get those little bitty tips out there like leaves or tops. Now I'm just going to fill in some more of these spots that didn't get a whole lot of fill in. And I'm just touching the paper with it, just patting it, but very lightly. Alrighty. So now we have a wall of shrubbery. We're getting there. We're getting there. Okay. So now we have a wall of shrubbery, and we're going to have to add, I'm not going to do those light colors till I do grass. So for my grass, which all of this I'm going to make grass in between. So for my grass, I'm going to start with YG17. It's pretty dark for grass. I'm just going to start making these little flicks, or brush strokes, if you will. Just kind of some really short little ones right here around where the animals are, and then they'll get longer as I go back in the back part. And I don't have to fill it all the way in, because I'm going to fill it in with different colors. So some are just going straight, some are going to the side. Just kind of filling in this grass. I'm going to put a little bit back here and here. I did. I'm sorry. It just popped out of my mouth. I fixed it though. So we're putting it all around our girl, because it's behind her. Behind our rhino. And these can be just in any direction. I'm going to start making them a little bit longer, because I want the grass to look a little bit taller back here. I'm going to go right into the bushes with the long ones. a chubby unicorn. Somebody said that when I was coloring it the other day. They came on and said, oh, that chubby unicorn looks so good. So just filling this in takes a little bit of time. But if you do these little strokes instead of just coloring a solid green in there, it looks so much better. A few little ones here and then they'll get bigger. Okay. All right, we're getting us a little show going on here. Okay, so we want to put them around the elephant. So he's going to have grass behind him too. I'm going to stop right there. I'm not going to go all the way to the top. I am going to build some here. And as you see, I'm going to do some right over top of the brown to show that the grass and the dirt are meeting there. A little bit right over top of this sign. Okay, and what we'll do is we'll worry about this side after we get done with the rest of this side. Okay, so the next one I'm going to use is I'm going to pop in these really bright colors. So this YG23. And I'm going to go right back over here where I was. This is a much brighter green. Going to be starting to fill in some of these empty spaces. Trying not to go over the ones I already put there. Not too much anyway. Might happen a little bit, but not too much. So we want to start filling this in. So we want it to be solid grass. I do not want to get it on that girl's face because then it's going to look like she's standing in the grass instead of the grass being behind her. You guys are mighty quiet. Are you mesmerized by all the different techniques we're learning tonight? Look at all the new stuff you'll get to try now. How easy it is to make grass. Just little tiny brush strokes, just kind of lifting up your marker like that all over the place, barely touching the paper. This crisscross of these green colors looks really good because this one's so much brighter than the last one. Notice I'm staying on the tip of my marker too. I don't want to do too much on the side because I want these to stay still very tiny little brush strokes. When I get to the really light color, I'm going to start blending that out a bit. I'm going to move the way that I hold the marker. So just be watching for that. I don't want to go over the elephant. I don't want it to look like he's standing in the grass. You're thinking their landscaper is amazing. That's funny. It's the imagination landscape right there. It's amazing what we can do with our landscaping. With a few colored markers, we can make some awesome looking stuff. Okay. So there we go. All right. Off to bed. You can see the rest in the morning. Okay. Now I want to come in with my YG03. And I'm going to start filling in a little bit more. These are going to be a little bit more on the side, a little bit more filling in. Kind of a little bit bigger strokes. So I want to start filling in that space. Not leaving any white space around their face or around them. So kind of filling that in. That YG03. More on the side of the marker. We got some good grass going on here. I know my grass is never that color. But look at how pretty that's starting to look. Doodles, girl. I'm still moving my marker in the different directions and not spending too much time in one spot. I don't want to blend it out. I want to leave all those brush strokes I put in there. Working hard over here in the Do Designs household with those 3D printers still running late at night. Starting to fill those in pretty good. This is where I'm going to touch the right next to the pathway and right next to the dirt. Get those filled in. Don't want to leave any white. So we're starting to really fill this in. Need a few more here I can see on the camera. Just darkening some of that up a little bit. All right, moving along. I think we might make these meerkats escaping from the zoo. Longer strokes, lots of them. I'm going to bring some of these out. Go around this girl. I don't want to put any green on her. She'll be sick. Okay. So we got a whole lot of grass going on here. Looking super cute. I'm going to go in with my, no, not my YG61. I'm going to go back in with my YG17. That was the darkest one we started with. And I'm just going to reinforce a few of these ones that we had in here that have kind of faded a little bit with us. Not as many as I did before, but just a few of them. Make those blades really stand out. Very light strokes, light touch. Just bringing out a few more of those little grass, so like little sections look like they stand out a little bit more. Also filling in some empty spaces. So over here I had a few that are really, really light, so I'm going to put a few in there. Maybe right here where our okay. So that kind of brings that together a little bit better. Hi, Rosemary. We are coloring a zoo scene here. Maybe we need to put a little bit of greenery on this side, but let's change the colors up just a little bit. Instead of YG67, I'm going to go with G46. Just going to change the colors so that we see a difference between this side and this side. This one is more green than the other ones that we saw. Not going to go up quite as high. Just going to put a little bit of a path there. Guess we could have put a tree in there, but oh well. You never know what we're going to do till we do it. You like it? Oh, yeah, we started tonight doing the background, but don't worry, I will put the replay. It'll stay in the group, and it will be on YouTube. So since we went to G46, I'm going to go to G43 on the next one. I'm going to fill that in just a little bit more with some lighter colors. Just want it to look like a little bit different type of grass for these little meerkats. A few little tall, I want to put a few little tall grass out there. Okay. So we're just putting a little bit on this side. I think we're going to have more of the sky on this side. I'm going to go to G40. So just kind of following all three of those G's, G 46, 43, and 40. So we've used a lot of greens for this one. This is going to be a really light one, so this is the one where I'm going to do the bigger flicks to fill in the empty spaces. Don't really want to wash that out, so I don't want to hit it too much. I do want to make sure it's colored up close to the meerkat though. Just kind of filling that in. There we go. So now we have different types of grass. So we have all of this. We'll make the top part sky here in a few minutes. And then we'll probably come down with more sky back here. Maybe we could even put a little bit of sun rays over here. That would be cool. Okay, so that's it for our greens, and I believe we used more than 9 greens in that whole section, so Jamie will be oh so proud. Okay, so now sky. So let's go with, there's always so many different colors you can do with your sky. So I'm going to test out a couple in the way that we usually test them out. And that is I'm going to run them across this. See how well they blend together. So this is B45. This is B52. And I like how those blues go together a lot. 45 and 52. And then 41 is lighter. That's a good one too. And then I'm going to pop in with this 91, which is lighter but more blue. So maybe I'll swap these two, the 91 and the 41. I'm going to swap places on those. And then I'm going to grab me some Y11, because you know I love Y11, and Y15 to do a little bit of sun up in this corner. So let's start with the sun. So I'm just going to put a little bit of a sun in this corner. I want it to be not seen very much, just a teeny bit, like you can see that sun right there. Only the corner of it. And I'm going to use the Y11 to kind of lighten that up a little bit. And then what we'll do is, once we have the sky in there, we'll put a little bit of yellow coming out as well. We may have to use Y00 to do the sun rays, but we'll see. We gotta see as we go. So here we go. B45. That's our darkest color. I'm going to start that around the edge. I want it to be somewhat over here. I don't want to put too much of this 45 on this side, but I definitely want to put it around the edges for sure. Okay, I'm going to pull this up so you guys can see it. So we're just kind of putting in some some B45 right here along the top. I'm going to go all the way to the sun with that. I'm going to come a little bit out here. We're just going to put a teeny bit of this right by the sun of this darkest color. Okay, now the B52, this one is going to be a little bit more of a softer greenish blue, which I super love. So we're going to use that one a little bit more. Let's use this end. A little bit more liberal. Kind of softening up that top up there. Kind of really saturating that paper. I like this blue a lot. Staying on the screen, trying to. I'm going to come down a little bit with this one in here. I'm going to come down a little bit with this one over here. And then we're going to come over from this one. We want to kind of soften that harsh color here on the edge. And then we're going to take this and we're just going to put a few lines in there to kind of bring that path out, but leave those green grass showing. So I'm just following along here. And I'm just putting those same type of lines in between the grass. Not with any rhyme or reason. Some are covering, some are not. But this kind of gives us that effect that the sun is shining behind the grass. Okay, gonna go around his head. And then I'm gonna switch, we should do that over here too. Let's do that over here too. Okay. So I want to kind of I'm going to do it sort of dotted because I don't want it to cover up all of our cool little edges we had over here. So I'm just going to put a little bit of it in here. Just kind of up and down. It looks kind of funny now, but it'll be all right when we get done. Okay. So now I'm going to go in with my B91, and that one is going to tone down that bright blue green that we put in there. Putting it all over top of what I already put on there. Our last color will blend them all together. I'm going to go in these little spots with this one. Over top that other color I had on there. Blending those blues together. Okay, we're going to be careful when we get close to our meerkat's head. We'll clean up those white spots when we get to our last color. And come around our little sun right here. We'll add in some yellow in a little bit. Looking a little splotchy, so I'm going to go over it one more time, try to smooth some of that out. Okay, and do it one more time over here too. Kind of give that, lighten that up a little bit. All right, our last one is B91. I mean 41, so sorry. B41 is our last color in the combo. And this one we're going to use really liberal, and we're going to really fill in those areas. I'm going to start over the elephant. So I have a really good starting point. Making sure I get all these spaces in between that are white, but not covering too much of the green. Don't want any white on there when I get done. I want this to all be colored. So now that I touched all the really close places to the shrubbery, now I'm going to really blend those out. So this is going to give us a really smooth blue sky. And I may go back in with that 52 to give it a little bit of that blue-green look, but I haven't decided for sure yet. I want this to be really close to my elephant, so I'm switching around to my brush nib. I'm going to turn this upside down. I think it'll be a little bit easier for me that way. So I'm going to go around my elephant and my head, around my head, and start filling this in. I'm going to go along this side really close. Make sure I get this filled in really good. I think we could probably have some shadowing underneath these signs. Move into my chisel nib again, so I can really get some ink on that paper. Aw, thanks. You guys are so nice to me. I'm super glad you like these. They make me feel good, and the more you like them, the more I'll want to do them. I kind of have an addiction now. As you noticed, I even go live sometimes when I'm not even scheduled to go live, just because I love hanging out with you guys, trying new things. Okay, so we got that done pretty good. I'm going to go down in this a little bit further because I feel like we need just a little bit heavier here. Just going to smooth this out. I'll put a little bit down in there. making sure I'm getting rid of all of that white area that was showing. You want to get close, close, close to the meerkats. Really, really close. I hope I didn't just stick my head in the frame. Nope. Well, I kind of got close with my head instead of with my marker. Okay. So we got to blend this out. Make sure it blends really, really well. Oh, Jack. Your snoring is driving me crazy. I usually yell at him really loud and startle him so he quits snoring. I have enough snoring from my hubby. I don't want to hear my dog do it too. You're loving my lives? Thank you. Yes, that's my dog snoring. Yes, he's right under my feet and he is snoring loudly. I am so glad that you like my lives. You see that fuzzy on my fingers? Gotta get it off. Okay, so we gotta get here because it's too light. It needs to be darker. Alright, so now we can go in and really saturate that paper with this chisel nib. Get around this little guy real quick. Kind of smoothing out those little marks I put down there earlier. I do a little better with the edge of the paper when I use this end of my marker. I want to let that dry a little bit before I go trying to put any yellow in there, but I do want to put some yellow in there. Looks like I got some green up here, so we're going to blend that out a little bit. There we go. Okay, so far so good. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit so you can see the whole thing. We still have just a teeny bit to go, and then we'll be done. We got this awesome little zoo scene going on here. So I'm going to take this Y00. I'm just going to start putting in just a little bit of yellow in here, just to kind of give it a, it will almost look green, but it'll be enough to show that the sun rays are coming this way. Some will be longer, some will be shorter. So you see how it has just a little bit in there? I probably need a little more over here. And I may have to hit this B. You love the cobblestones? I'm really happy with how the cobblestones are coming out in this one. They're so much fun. They're so easy to do. If you missed the beginning of that video, you should watch it. Doesn't it look like it just rained over here and the sun is coming out over here? This is lighter grass. This is darker grass. I don't know. I like it. What do you guys think? Look at that. I amaze myself sometimes. I'm pretty happy. I wouldn't say it's the best thing I've ever seen, but I sure do like it. I like the grass. I'm happy with that. I like the shrubbery. The sky looks good. All I have to do is put this on a slimline card now and we're good to go. Do you want to visit my zoo? I think if I were going to do one more thing, I would go back to my W3 and I would just go along this path right here where it meets the grass, just to kind of, because we started out with the cobblestone and I feel like we lost a little bit of that. So I want to come in here and just kind of define the edge of that pathway again with that one. And when you do that, it will help if we go down to W1 and just do it one more time to make sure it doesn't go it doesn't get too light or too dark. So I'm just going to go over it one more time just to kind of keep that solid path, but really lightly touching that, what we just put there. And just fill that in. So there we go. I believe we are finished. Thank you so much for hanging out. I'm glad you liked it. I'm super glad we got through it tonight. I know it was a lot. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me through the duration of it. I'll post the video on YouTube, and if you guys have anything else that you want to see, like you wanted to see the cobblestone, if you let me know, you know, I'll work it into a project and we'll go from there. But other than that, these stamp sets are available in the shop along with the holders and the refill stations. And if you missed the beginning, I did show how we use the refill station. And thank you so much. I'll see you guys tomorrow night, same time, same place. Thank you. Good night.